Yeah, the best part of this job is success. That's what we're all here for, to win, to be on the podium. You know, we don't come to work to finish last.
The best part about being a crew chief is that we're in a position that we have a chance to win, along with the rider that can win, but that winning is the best part of it. There's no substitute. My name's Phil Marron, working in WorldSBK at Yamaha Prometeon, crew chief for Top Rack Lighthearted.
My name's Andrew Pitt. I do the same job as Phil for exactly the same team, but for Andrea Locatelli.
I was just reading off that wall.
I didn't want to mess it up.
As a crew chief, we have a few roles within the team. One would be to organise our crew, to be the chief of that crew, which is quite self-explanatory. So the guys know what they have to do before the session, during the session, after the session, and preparing for the race. Yeah, we have to interpret what the rider says during the session. Sometimes, many times during the session, we have to translate that into adjusting the bike, trying to fix problems, identify problems. Then after the session, we have to work very well. We have to organise the group, the electronic engineer, suspension engineer, to try and fix the problems we've identified in the session and go forward from there.
Apparently I do the same thing. Yeah, we get the comments from the rider and we use the tools that we have around us to solve the problem and find a solution, which are the people that Phil just mentioned, also with the rider coach, Nico, and together we make a decision on what we think is the best solution. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. 3 mechanics, tyre and fuel guy, electronics, suspension technician from Owens we share, Ricky, who's the kind of the technical boss, which we share, and Nico, the rider coach. So they're the people that help us provide the solution.
How did I get the crew chief job? That started quite a while ago. I was working as a mechanic. I had a chance to go motorcycle racing along with the Laverty brothers, Michael, John and Eugene, who are the brothers of my now wife. Really enjoyed trying to improve the setting of the bike, so I was interested in that role of it and understood the comments that the riders were given, so I got an opportunity to do it in 125s and I took it back in 2001. Been doing it for 20 odd years now. For
me, getting involved or getting started in the crew chief role was, I guess, something that I hadn't sort of looked at on the horizon for myself. I used to race, but I used to be an accountant. So I guess being an accountant isn't the natural training to be a crew chief. But when I stopped racing, I got asked to come and have a try at being a crew chief, and I thought, well, yeah, I'll give it a try. I'll try and learn it. Even a week before here, we've already spoken with Ricardo. We've already sent our start plan for the bike. We know what tyres we have, so we already knew this last week. Thursday mornings always meetings. We have to touch base with Pirelli. We have our technical meeting together if there's any adjustments to the plan for FP1, and you know, we'll go into a session with a plan on doing the first run of 8 laps on this tyre with this amount of fuel, with these things to try on the electronics. We come in, we see what we've learned, then we go to the second part of the plan, which is the next run, and then it might mean changing a tyre at the last part. So this is all pre-planned on the way we work here in this garage. Phil and I will also make sure that we don't overlap things, that we try to get double the amount of work done by him trying something and me trying something else, so that we can put it all together at the end so that we get to the solution quicker. And it's one of the strengths of this team that we get to the solution or the right race tyre quicker
as quick as possible
by doing it together.
Yeah, one of those things is, for example, with the rear tyre, Andrew will decide to put lock on one rear tyre, I'll decide to put top rack on another rear tyre. Then after the session we've got both bases covered for distance. Another example could be linkage or rear suspension or front suspension.
Front tyre, whatever. All the stuff we've just talked about is what gets us ready for Saturday and Sunday. You know, we're gathering all the information we can. We know which tyres to use. Qualifying is critical, but it's a different skill set. It's to go out and go as fast as you can for one lap, to put yourself in a good position for the race, which is all the free practices we're preparing for the race.
So when we go to the grid for the full race distance, track pit lane opens 20 minutes before. On the grid we try to be as prepared as we can so that we don't have to do anything. Basically we just fit the race front and race rear tyre, and if everything goes to plan, we're watching the clock ticking down before we must unplug tyre warmers, and then it's tyre warmers off with 1 minute to go. And in this time we're trying to keep the riders focused, keep them relaxed, but at the same time keep them focused. If they're too tense, is never positive, and if they're too relaxed, generally they're distracted, so it's trying to find a balance in there. The relationship with the rider, in my opinion, you don't have to be best friends. You have to be friendly, but important not to be best friend, because sometimes he has to be strong with us, and many times we have to be strong with them. So if you're best mates, it's quite easy to take a huff and throw the toys out of the pram and go your own way. So you have to try and find the balance. But
you don't need to be best friends. You got to have the respect between each other, because there's the time when you've got to ask the riders, come on, stand up and come out with me. We need to have a serious talk. But there's other times you need to put your arm around them and give them a hug too. So there has to be that respect there. But most of all, they have to trust us too, because they're out there risking their life every time, and that's what I guess builds the relationship and the feeling within the group.
I don't think there's any hard and fast rule to working with a rider. I think they're all unique. All humans are unique, so there's nothing set in stone. There's no handbook to follow this. But
no, there's no rule book.
You just get to know them. That's and like we said before, the trust is one of the key things. We trust them and they trust us. So.
Yeah, that's the key to it. We don't come to work to finish last, for sure.
Or a haircut.
Yeah, I come here for a haircut. Well, actually, there's a funny story to that. My rider comes here for a haircut because one of the mechanics cuts his hair at Thursday night at every event. So Lockie gets a free haircut at every event. So he comes here for a haircut.
He always looks sharp.
And he always looks sharp.